aren't necessarily killers. Just because you happen to be not rich doesn't mean you're willing to kill.
Speaking of his ministry, Jesus said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set free those who are downtrodden, to proclaim the favorable year of the Lord." Luke chapter 4, verses 18 and 19.
Part of making sure America is a compassionate place means acts as simple as walking into a shut-in's home and saying, "I love you," on a regular basis.
The Apostle James wrote, "If a brother or sister is without clothing and in need of daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, be warm, and be filled,' and yet you do not give them what is necessary for their body, what use is that?" James 2:15-16.
Over 37 million Americans are living below the poverty line. As a people, we have always believed that our hard work would be rewarded, but vast numbers cannot even pay their bills, not even with 2 or 3 jobs. More than 1 in 10 Americans live below the poverty line, and the gap between the haves and the have-nots is widening. It is shocking to think that 37 million Americans live in poverty. That is 12.7% of our population, the highest percentage in the developed world. The impoverished are found from the hills of Kentucky to Detroit streets, from the deep south of Louisiana to the heartland of Oklahoma. Each year since 2001, their numbers have been growing. Under George Bush Jr., an extra 5.4 million have slipped below the poverty line. Yet theirs is not a story of the unemployed or the destitute. Most have jobs. Many have 2. Even families with 2 working parents are only 1 step away from a crash. A medical bill, a factory closure, 1 step away from a disaster. A minimum wage of $5.15 an hour had not been raised since 1997, and if you adjust it for inflation, it is at the lowest since 1956. The gap between the haves and the have-nots looms wider than ever before. Faced with the rising poverty rates, Bush's trillion-dollar federal budget recently raised a considerable amount of defense spending for the war in Iraq while slashing massive amounts from the welfare programs. Even though less than 2% of our budget has ever gone to these welfare programs, the far right has longed for the day when they could abolish them. These conservatives seem ignorant of the foundation on which this country was built. Just look how the Constitution begins. "We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, secure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." How do we ensure the domestic tranquility with over 37 million Americans living in poverty? How is a general welfare promoted when nothing is being done to raise the living standards of all Americans? How is our liberty defended with an organized effort to reduce the incomes of all but a handful of the elite? If nothing else, This is not establishing justice, and without that, we are only steps away from losing our status as the land of the free. The United States has over 269 billionaires, the highest number in the world. No one would begrudge them their inherited wealth. But how rich do they need to be? The bigger question is, who is paying the price for them to live in such luxury? Did you know that almost a quarter of all African Americans live below the poverty line? And 22% of Hispanics have fallen below it? Beyond the 37 million living in poverty, there are 46 million Americans living without health insurance. There is 82,000 homeless people in Los Angeles alone. This is anything but a joke. Providing for the least of our society is not only Christian, it is at the heart of what it means to be an American. From the earliest days when we were but mere colonists, we formed communities to support each other. Whether it was the building of a home or putting out a fire, our forefathers came together. It was this sense of community on which our country was built. It is this sense of community that the right seems to have lost. This type of antisocial mindset that would abandon so many to the suffering of poverty is difficult to understand. Some would equate it with the same type of antisocial mindset that caused so many deaths during the Second World War. What is closer to the truth is that they lack a sense of empathy. They cannot comprehend why anyone would choose to be poor as if it was a choice. For those who have had wealth handed to them with little or no effort, it seems so easy. Theirs is not an evil heart, rather one which has been darkened by the confusion of selfishness. It befalls all mankind to look beyond their own understanding and to try to see the world through the eyes of others. So long as we see ourselves at the center of the universe, there will always be suffering and sorrow. It is only when we put Christ in that place and reach out to all humanity that we can hope to see true justice.
Speaking of the judgment day, Jesus said, "Then the king will say to the righteous, 'Come, you who are blessed of the Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison or come to you?' And the king will answer them, saying, 'Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did it to one of these brothers of mine, even the least of them, you did it to me.'"